issue new guidance this week on masks. N95s and KN95s over surgical, over cloth masks, or at least as effective there. Hospitals still crowded with COVID patients, though. ABC's Alex Stone is in L.A.
Los Angeles County is reporting over 40,000 new COVID cases in the past day and 39 new deaths from COVID. That is the highest daily count of new deaths here since September. L.A. County is now urging people here to cancel planned events and get-togethers, especially those indoors.
Novak Djokovic included in the draw for the Australian Open. He will play a fellow Serbian in round one. Australia could still decide to deport him, however, over his refusal to get vaccinated. A new lawsuit filed over the deadly shooting on the Rust movie set.
Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who was armorer on the set of Rust, filing a lawsuit against Seth Kenny and PDQ Prop and Arms. The suit claims Kenny sold ammunition boxes labeled 45 Colt dummies, but that the boxes actually contained both dummies and live ammo, saying that led to the fatal shooting on the movie set.
ABC's Lana Moise, a U.S. judge giving the go-ahead for Virginia Giuffre to sue Prince Andrew over the Jeffrey Epstein case. ABC News Royals contributor Victoria Murphy.
The fact that it hasn't been thrown out now means that it's going to continue to play out for at least this year, possibly beyond. We don't know. And so this is something that is now causing the monarchy significant and long-term damage.
A new police report is shedding light on what happened before Gabby Petito was murdered during a cross-country trip with her boyfriend, Brian Laundrie. The report finds police officers had evidence assault had taken place.
The report also blames the officers for not getting a statement from the 911 caller who reported seeing a man slapping a young woman. Weeks after the incident, Petito was reported missing. Her body was later found in nearby Wyoming. The cause ruled a homicide.
You're listening to ABC News.
Exergen would like you to know about an important study just released by the FDA. It confirms what the medical community has known all along. Non-contact thermometers are not accurate. The study also reports that they fail to meet FDA requirements for accuracy in labeling. We can't afford to tolerate the rampant false temperature readings from non-contact thermometers. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. You need Exergen thermometers because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phone, chat, workspaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all your communications. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with the Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
The top Republican in the House, Kevin McCarthy, now saying he will not cooperate with the committee investigating the January 6th riot, calling the investigation illegitimate and politically motivated. But ABC Chief Washington correspondent Jonathan Karl says...
And a reminder that others close to Trump are cooperating with the committee. We learned that Kayleigh McEnany did answer questions from the committee investigators.
McEnany served as President Trump's press secretary. Cyber attacks in New Mexico's biggest city. Federal officials are investigating one that targeted a jail in Albuquerque, knocking out cameras and leaving automatic door locks unusable for hours. All the public schools in Albuquerque closed today after a cyber attack took out several systems. And a quick end to hopes for one duo to possibly host the Oscars. Here's ABC's Jason Nathanson.
Steve Martin and Martin Short to host the Oscars? The idea was floated by writer-director Judd Apatow after ABC said this week that this year's show would have a host. Apatow tweeting that it would be pure joy to see the duo host, and we need that. So I got Martin Short on a Zoom audio call and asked him, is that something you'd want to do?
No, not particularly. That night we are performing in Stamford, Connecticut, actually. We have a show.
So it's not even possible. It's not on the table.
No, it's not on the table.
He and Steve Martin were nominated for Screen Actors Guild Awards for Best Comedy Actors for their Hulu show Only Murders in the Building, the pair's first ever SAG noms. Jason Nathanson, ABC News, Hollywood.
This is ABC News.
What's all the buzz about nasal irrigation and navage? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Navage, Navage.
Sherry Preston, ABC News.
The reasons more and more people are coming to NC Tractor to do business are the selection of Massey Ferguson tractors, Bobcat zero-turn mowers, fantastic customer service, and the special Phil Sheehan seasonal discounts. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford is making dreams come true for folks who want the rest.
We expect more cloud cover today than what we had on Wednesday. Mostly cloudy to maybe even an overcast. It's a lot of thick upper-level clouds. Cool with the high temperature in the low 50s. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy. The low temperatures fall into the mid-30s. Tomorrow is a partly cloudy day and a milder day. Mid to upper 50s are expected. Right now, Saturday looks overcast. Sunday could be a big mess. We're tracking a storm that could bring a wintry mix on Sunday. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
What you talking about, Mike? Well, enjoy the next few days of sunny weather, cool temperatures, but sunny weather because time it does get here. Saturday night, it's an iffy kind of forecast. We're just not sure at this point how much intense that's going to be. There's a chance of rain and snow Saturday night, and then on Sunday, some snow, possibly some accumulation. We'll keep our eye on that storm. Whatever that storm decides to do becomes up the right path. We'll get a load of it. If it decides to go another path, we may not get but just a few sprinkles. So right now it's 30 degrees, and we have our eye on the storm. You keep your ear tuned to WCAB. Now we have these death announcements. Charles Eddie St. Clair, age 78, passed away Sunday at his home. Funeral services will be private in Crow's Mortuaries, assisting the family of Charles Eddie St. Clair. Robert Edward Boone, age 81 of Forest City, died Monday at Hospice House of the Carolina Foothills. The family is planning a memorial service at a later date, and McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Service will be in charge of those arrangements for Robert Edward Boone. Philip Anthony George, age 58 of Mooresboro, died Thursday, January the 6th, at his residence. There are no formal services planned, and the Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory is serving the family of Philip Anthony George. Jason Dean Van Dyke, 44, of Bostic, died Saturday, December 25th. A family-directed memorial service will be conducted at 2 o'clock on Sunday, January the 16th, at Fairview Baptist Church. The family will receive friends from 1 until 2 at the church prior to the service. And Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service in charge of those arrangements and cremation service for Jason Dean Van Dyke. Laura White Callahan, 79, passed away peacefully on Saturday, January the 8th. A visitation will be held Friday, January the 14th from 1 until 2:30 at Eggers Funeral Home in Cliffside, with the funeral service following at 2:30 in the A.C. McKinnon Memorial Chapel at Eggers Funeral Home of Cliffside. Eggers Funeral Home is serving the family of Laura White Callahan. Bo Whiteside passed away Wednesday, January the 5th, at the age of 80. Due to COVID restrictions, a public viewing will be held today at 1:30 at Thompson Mortuary. There will be a private funeral on Friday, January the 14th. Funeral will be streamed live on Thompson Mortuary and Chapel's Facebook page for Bo Whiteside. Andy Lou Stallings, age 99 of Rutherfordton, died Monday at Holly Springs Senior Citizen Center. The family will receive friends from 6 until 8 o'clock today at McMahon's Funeral Home. The funeral service will be at Holly Springs Baptist Church at 3 o'clock Friday, February the 14th. Burial will be at Holly Springs Baptist Church Cemetery. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Service is in charge of those arrangements for Annie Lou Stallings. Junior Womack, age 95 of Anderson, South Carolina, formerly of Ellenboro, passed away Thursday, January the 6th at the Richard M. Campbell Veterans Home in Anderson. The funeral service will be conducted at 2 o'clock today at the Harrelson Funeral Chapel. Burial will follow at Lebanon United Methodist Church Cemetery, with military honors being accorded by the Rutherford County Honor Guard. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the funeral home. Harrelson Funeral Home and Cremation Service, serving the family of Junior Womack. Margaret Robbins, age 83 of Forest City, passed away Sunday, January the 9th at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. No formal services are planned at this time, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service is serving the family of Margaret Robbins of Forest City. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. Tune in at 11:35 and then at 5:10 and we'll have complete information as they become available to us.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up from the NRIA.net studios in New York. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. Why do just 4 companies control 80% of the USA meat industry? Because big food crushes the little guy. Help change that with MoinkBox.com. Moink supports family farms and delivers grass-fed meat and wild-caught salmon right to your door, all free of antibiotics and hormones. Right now, listeners to this broadcast can get free filet mignon for a year. So please go to moinkbox.com/Bill. That's MOINK box.com/Bill. On this Thursday, some Democrats are now saying they want Hillary Clinton to run for president again in 2024. And Hillary is down with that. But why do they want her? Let's start with the Biden administration. The first year was a disaster. Nothing is working. The economy, well, inflation is eating away at people's wages. COVID, come on. Record-breaking cases, and we can't even get essential information from the Biden administration. And on and on and on. Kamala Harris, polls show people don't trust her, don't like her. What exactly is she doing as vice president? No one knows. So, Biden and Harris may try to run again in 2024, but certainly the Democratic Party doesn't have a lot of enthusiasm right now. That could change, to be fair. Outside of Michelle Obama, who else is there? Mrs. Obama took a full-page ad out in the New York Times on Sunday saying that people should vote and she's going to register them. So she's back. If Michelle Obama wants the presidential nomination on the Democratic ticket in 2024, she will get it. She is extremely popular and powerful among Democrats. So keep your eye on her, but Hillary is in the bullpen. Now this. Attention investors want predictable monthly cash flow? How about double-digit annualized targeted returns with the benefits of real estate without being a landlord? Peace of mind comes from investing with a 15-year industry leader. Savvy investors are learning about the NRIA Real Estate Development Fund, and you should too. So please call 800-800-1414. That's easy, 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at NRIA.net.
That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
It's another long winter.
600 years.
No, it'll be gone soon.
I'm waiting!
In the meantime, keep warm with us. Today's hits and yesterday's memories. Family-friendly AM 590, WCAB.
Good morning. Good morning.
This is Gilbert. I'm back on the air every Saturday from 8 to 9. So put on a pot of coffee, sit down, and listen to Gilbert Talks Taxes. You just might learn something.
Bass Reeves was born around 1840 as a slave in Paris, Texas. He grew to be 6'2" and 200 pounds. During the Civil War, he walked away from his owner and joined the Union Army, serving in the Indian Territory and learning several Indian dialects. Following the Civil War, he got married and settled down on a farm in Arkansas. But Bass Reeves yearned for the excitement he had experienced as a soldier. In 1875, Isaac Parker, later to be known as the Hanging Judge, was appointed as the federal judge for the Indian Territory. He appointed 200 deputy marshals. At this time, the Indian Territory was the only area of the United States that was truly integrated. Seeing the opportunity for adventure and money, Bass Reeves got a job as a deputy marshal. The deputy marshal's income was derived from collecting the rewards on the criminals they brought in. The Indians in the territory hated white men, but Bass Reeves, a black man who could speak their language, was able to get information that no white man could. As a result, it was not unusual for him to return to Fort Smith with his prison wagon full. According to one of Bass Reeves' contemporaries, he didn't want to spend much time chasing down the man who resisted arrest, so he would shoot him down in his tracks. On January 12, 1910, 5 years after retirement, Bass Reeves died quietly. His funeral was attended by hundreds of friends. They included blacks, whites, and Indians. Everyone was there to pay their respects to this ex-slave who spent his life serving his country. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James Railroad Express has added 2 new sandwiches to their menu. Try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. And now, the new beer-battered fish sandwich. All come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only, hot dog with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
16 minutes after 7 o'clock Thursday morning, the 13th day of January. Working our way toward the weekend when we all have our eye on the weather pattern to see how it's going to affect us right here in the foothills. Let's go to the phones now. We'll have the man who always has his plate full but willing to stop long enough to give us an update on the Sheriff's Department report. Sheriff Chris Francis, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Are you ready for this snowfall?
Well, I'm getting kind of excited about it. I just hope it doesn't overload us too much and doesn't freeze off everything, but a little snow would be fine, I think.
A little would. We'll see what we get, though, sir.
Yeah, the operative word is little bit right there, a little bit of snow. Just
Yes,
enough
sir.
just enough to excite the kids and the parents.
This is true. This is true.
Tell us what's going on.
Jim, in the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office responded to 125 calls of service. There have been 8 arrests processed in the county jail, currently incarcerated 154. Among those arrested, Christopher Michael Bowen, 21-year-old male of Far City, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear and received a $4,000 secure bond. Matthew Thomas Cooley, 34-year-old male, was served with a true bill of indictment while he was already incarcerated and received no bond. Ricky Lee White, 29-year-old male of Spartanburg, was served with 2 counts of felony failure to appear and received a $90,000 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny US 221A in Forest City. There was a blue BMX hyperbike valued at $40 and a DeWalt Sawzall valued at $100 that was taken. A suspect was seen and dropped that property, but unfortunately escaped in the woods. We recovered the property and returned it to the rightful owner, and we do have a suspect in mind in that repeat offender. We had an ID theft there off Bethany Church Road. Victim's ID was used to turn on power in another state several years ago, and it still was affecting their credit and needed a report for that. We had a B&E in Lordstown, Highway 226, where the homeowner had left the house for a few hours and returned, and it was $50 in change that was taken in a smartphone. The house had been left unsecure with a door unlocked. And we had a missing person from Brook Drive, Brandy Nicole Roop, a 33-year-old white female, 5'2", 110 pounds, with brown, medium-length, straight hair and brown eyes, was last seen on Saturday, the 8th, by family members, and they have reported her missing, so we will be looking for her. And, of course, Jim, we had a tragic event in the jail yesterday morning and the night prior. We had a total of 5 inmates that we believe overdosed. Looks like some sort of an opioid or fentanyl or heroin-type substance, the way that the 4 that we were able to save responding to the Narcan. But unfortunately, Andrew Franklin Hodge was located deceased. Appears to be related to the other 4, though, and we have contacted the SBI to come in and assist in that investigation, as well as our investigators are working the criminal aspect of it as well.
All right, Sheriff, I know there's been a lot of speculation about that. I'm glad you cleared that up for us a little bit this morning.
Yes, sir. Just to try to understand how inventive that inmates can be, and they obviously can
swallows small amounts or hide small amounts in plastic bags or balloons or those type of objects before they come in to the detention facility, and then they can retrieve those shortly thereafter. So those are some really hard things to deal with. We have been looking at and requested a full body scanner, and hopefully we'll be able to get that X-ray body scanner that should assist in any kind of contraband coming in. So that's what we're looking to. And unfortunately, this was a tragic event that happened yesterday morning.
Sheriff, thank you very much for being with us. Thank you for the update, and you be safe out there, and we'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Here's Jessica now reporting from the Communication Center. Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. What's on the report?
In the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 417 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 62 EMS calls, 125 for Sheriff's Office, Varsity 41, Lake Lure 5, Rutherford 34, Spindale 23. Fire calls, Ellenborough responded to 2 motor vehicle accidents, Varsity to a structure fire, Rutherford to a motor vehicle accident, Sandy Mush to a vehicle fire, Spindale to a structure fire assisted by Rutherford, and that's all we've got today.
Thanks, Jessica. Have a good day.
You too.
In Leading Purpose, we recognize that some of our local businesses have struggled the last 2 years trying to make sure the dream they built for their company is not damaged. So many factors have been involved in keeping you from doing what you intended to do as a business owner and what you want to do, both for your employees and your community. Leading Purpose is a local small business that wants to walk with you on your journey to achieving greater abundance.
You'll be hearing more and more about Leading Purpose, and I hope you will indeed pay attention if you have a business and like to need some help there of the company that I think you can go to. Let's turn our attention now to the Sdo Fire District. Ruby Taylor, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your report today?
Well, the fire department was quiet, and on my birthday calendar, I've got Stephen Walker, James Ray Morgan, and Amy Jo Pardon having birthday today, and hope they all have a nice day. And the signs are in the arms today and tomorrow. And Jim, that's all I got.
Thank you very much, Ruby. Have a good one.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Why not let Andrew Tisdale, your Edward Jones financial advisor, help you create a game plan for financial success? Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale at Edward Jones Financial Advisor, 828-287-9197. Our next Tar Heel game looks like it's going to be on Saturday, UNC versus Georgia Tech, unless they change it again. They've been flipping this schedule around about every few hours. So right now, as of right now, it's on our schedule for Saturday at 6:30. Countdown, pregame 7, and tip-off is 8 o'clock. There are various reasons they're changing the schedule, COVID relations in different places, TV schedules, and all kinds of things. But when they change it, they flip it down to us, and we have about 12 hours to get things changed. So we hopefully they'll settle that down. But right now it is Saturday at 6:30. All right, let's head up to Fairfield Mountains Chapel, not Chapel, but Fairfield Mountains Fire District and talk with Gary Wilson. Gary, good morning.
I might need to go to the chapel after the snowstorm's over with, Jim.
I was about to put you in the pulpit over to the chapel, Gary.
We're doing pretty good up here. Everything's quiet overnight, no calls or anything, so we should hopefully get a good night's sleep. Sitting on about 31 degrees this morning and waiting to see what this weather's going to do. I guess it's going to depend on the temperature at the time it happens.
Yes.
See what we get.
Well, I hope they get plenty of rest these next couple of nights, because come Saturday night and Sunday they may be quite busy.
They may be, and that thing dips down into the Gulf a little bit and then comes back up, and that's normally when we get our snowfall. If it don't, we may just look up and get by with a dusting or some sleet or something. But sleet's not good either. So I hope we dodge the bullet altogether on it. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Let's do weather reports. If it does start coming down, just stay at home, stay off the roads.
Well, I stopped by the grocery store yesterday to pick up one item, and I saw a gentleman walking out of the grocery store with 3 big gallons of milk. He had 3 of them under his arm, carrying them. So he was loaded.
The third one was full before he had time to drink it.
That's right. I know it. I thought, whoa, back up here, fella. But he had 3 of them.
Good George. I hope it ain't that bad.
I do too.
Well, that's about all we got going, Jim. Everything else is going on pretty quiet.
Gary, have a great day up there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Not too then.
Thanks.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Bosick is there alive and well this morning. Let's talk with DeVern and see what's happening over there. Anything going on, DeVern?
Well, no, we're waiting on the snow. Do you think it's going to get here?
I think it's going to get here, yeah.
Okay.
In some form, maybe light or medium. I don't know if we get a lockdown or not, but we'll get some snow, I think.
Oh, okay.
You ready for it?
I'm ready for it.
Okay.
Got my sled out, ready to slide.
Good.
Okay, over here in Boston, the temperature is 35 degrees. The fire department had no calls, but their association meeting is tonight at 7 o'clock at Bills Creek Fire Department. Washburn's Outreach is giving food boxes out today from 9 to 1. And stop by the Bee Supply Store on Depot Street in Boston and get your items. Some nice shirts in there and other items. And the Blessed Box is located right beside of it. Hope everyone has a safe and nice day today.
Stay warm over there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Our check with Washburn Store this morning. They always have plenty of things for you for the winter months as well, and plenty of warm Africans. They keep those Africans that are nice and warm. Everything is made in the good old U.S. of A. Check with them and see if they're going to have any sleds this year. They got all kinds of things that'll be worth your time just to stroll up and down the aisle and meet those great folks who work there. They do such a wonderful job, making you feel special. Why don't you go by Washburn General Store today? Before the snow comes, go by Washburn General Store. Bostic Sunshine Highway in the Washburn community. Here's Bob Hodge now reporting from Hudlow with his eye on the storm. Bob, what are you seeing about that storm? Do you think it's going to happen?
Well, I tell you, look like they're still got it in. Look like the snow totals are going up. So look like we got a good chance over the weekend.
Yeah, they keep accelerating that, don't they?
If that low pressure center stays a little south of us and draws that moist up from the south, so we'll get several inches there of it there if it stays like that. But I don't know. We got a couple of days to go yet to see which way it goes there. So
you think we can call a board meeting and get together and see if we can't change the direction of that a little bit? Regular board. You think we could call a board meeting and see if we can change the direction of that any?
Well, now we probably have a meeting there, but but I think a lot of them's wanting a little snow there, so it ain't gonna hurt. I think we'll get a good snow there. But I like them snows that comes and goes there.
That's kind of like nothing but snow, no ice, just snow.
That's right, and gone in a day, so too. So, but Jim, it looks like we're gonna get some though. So, but up here this morning, I looked out, looked like it's already snowed there. It's chilly around the edges this morning.
Yes.
We got a big frost over here, so. And with the fire department, it's been quiet overnight. Hadn't had any fire calls. Want to say happy birthday to Becky Gillian this morning. Hope she has a good birthday today. And Jim, that's about it up on this Thursday morning. And so just take care and go out and get your snow shovel. That'll be sold out, I guess.
And I guess maybe along with that, we need to probably get some Ben Gay to rub our muscles and shoulders down good after we dig all that snow out, right? Ben Gay would probably be good with it.
You better go get you some linen men or something there. Rub on them joints.
That's right.
Oh. Well, right. Jim, you take care and have a good day.
You too, Bob. Thanks for being with us, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. It's Bob Hodge reporting out of the Sdo Fire District. You can catch Bob most afternoons, too, here in the Afternoon Report, WCAB. Well, up in the Black Mountain, a crowd gathered around to sing Happy Birthday and clap for a World War II veteran who turned 103 years old on Wednesday, January the 12th, there in Black Mountain. What a day that was her. I saw a picture of her. She's smiling real big and looked like she really felt good. Bernice Liverett, now 103, served as medical transportation in the U.S. Army and married Buford Liverett in 1947 after he was discharged from the Navy. They moved to North Carolina and had 2 children and now have 4 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren, and they threw a party for her yesterday, cake and balloons and everything, and sang to her, and the North Carolina Veterans Home helped the family celebrate the big occasion. Liverett said, I'm just kind of in a daze. It's wonderful. It's just something that happened that's never been before, and it really is overwhelming. She's amazing because she knows so much and she still has her mind about her, said her granddaughter, or rather her daughter, Alicia Bowman. She said, we can communicate, and she just does very well to be 103. Bowman told News 13 that family and cooking are important to Bernice, and she appreciated all the recognition she's getting on her 103rd birthday. And here's Sue Price reporting in now from the Cherry Mountain Fire District on this cool morning. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
You doing okay, I hope?
I'm doing okay. Hope you are.
Yes.
Just a pretty morning over here. The sky's so pretty out there. It's got pink and blue and just really pretty. But it's a cold morning. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department. I don't have any birthdays on my church calendar. On my personal calendar, I've got Huck Arrowwood, so I hope Huck's going to have a good day today. And nothing on Fairviews, and I don't have First Project, so not too many celebrating, but we hope anybody's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day and enjoy it. And I haven't had any announcements come in. It's just quiet and calm over here, looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one, Jim.
Thanks, Sue. I hope you have one, too, and I'll see you next time.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
Well, up in Old Ford, McDowell County Sheriff's Office Detective Billy Brown has charged 32-year-old James Robert Hollifield III of Hodges Creek Drive in Old Ford with first-degree statutory sex offense and indecent liberties with a child. He was given a $600,000 secured bond. On December 17th, the alleged sexual abuse of a prepubescent female who was an acquaintance of Hollifield was reported to the McDowell County Sheriff's Office. An investigation led to the arrest of Hollifield later that same day. The McDowell County Child Advocacy Center, Lily's Place of Marion, assisted with the investigation. People like that, I tell you, no excuse for anybody not to be punished when they do a child that way, but we'll see what the courts do for them, and we hope indeed they will. All right, we mentioned we have UNC Georgia Tech game coming up on Saturday night. As of right now, it's scheduled for that way. And we'll, if there are any changes, if the snow does come in here on Saturday night, any changes in what's programming, anything, we'll certainly pass that on to you. We hope everything will run smoothly. And if it's coming at all, may it just be snow where folks can get out and go. And a lot of churches will be scheduling their streaming services, as many of them are still doing since COVID. A lot of folks hadn't been back into church in over a year now because of all this COVID stuff. And if the snow comes, it'll block out another Sunday, I guess, for many. We're trying to get in touch with the Drop-In Family Mart over in Bostic to see what's going on over there. I heard somebody was telling me yesterday they stopped by there and enjoyed breakfast, and my goodness, what a good breakfast it was. Well, Drop-In's busy this morning and could not come to the phone, so we're going to move right along and go up to Shingle Hollow. Maybe Tina's got breakfast cooking for us up there. Tina, what's cooking for breakfast?
Nothing this morning.
Oh, no?
No. We're going to go out and have a biscuit this morning.
Well, that sounds good.
Down at Green Hill Store.
Oh, yeah. They got good ones, don't they?
They do. They really do. So it's 30 degrees this morning here in Shingle Hollow. And the sky is so pretty. The sunrise is pretty this morning over Glenda's house. And I lost my train of thought. So the fire department was all quiet in the past 24 hours. And for birthdays today, on this Thursday, is Miss Ruth Searcy and Ann Strickland. And on there's nobody on Pilgrim Way or Pleasant Grove. Pilgrim's Way is having a blood drive this Saturday from 10 to 3, and if you'd like to sign up for that, call Ginger at 429-9328. And then on the 22nd, the White House Community Clubhouse is inviting you to come out and have breakfast. It starts at 7 a.m. until 10. $6 for adults, $3 for children. Under 5 is free. It's all-you-can-eat country breakfast, and it's wonderful. And that's at White House Community Clubhouse. And that's all we have going on today that I know of.
All right. Well, you enjoy the biscuits, and we'll chat again tomorrow morning.
Okay. Have a nice day. Stay safe.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Tina. Bye-bye. Speaking of biscuits, odd that biscuits come up. The topic for Keys to Confident Living coming up here in about 5 minutes or so is what goes into biscuits is the title of it. So that should be interesting to see what he has to say about that. It's all happening right here exclusively on the Morning Wake Up Call.
Another season has come and gone, and you're still looking at that same sad-looking sofa or recliner. Well, now's the time to change the inside of your home to look as pretty as colors outside. And the perfect place to start is the Recliner Center. Right now at the Recliner Center, everything is 20% off. That's 20% off sofas, recliners, sofa recliners. If someone you love is having trouble standing, the Recliner Center has all lift chairs on sale for 10% off. All lift chairs, 10% off. Now, some of these chairs can take you from a standing position, then safely back down to a sitting position with no effort on your part whatsoever. Angela is cleaning out merchandise to make room for more. So now's your chance to redecorate your home and take advantage of the great savings at the Recliner Center. All lift chairs, 10% off. Everything else is 20% off. Angela is seeing folks by appointment only, so call 828-395-3562. Call her today. The Recliner Center. They're on Cooper's Gap Road in Rutherfordton.
Nice recliner, leaning back, looking out that big window when that snow falls would be a great thing to spend our weekend doing. Good morning, Brenda Kelly at Union Mills. How are you?
Good morning, Jim Bishop in downtown Whiteside Road. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad to hear it. You all excited about that snow?
Yes, I am. Kinda. You know, I have mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
Anticipation of not knowing how serious it's going to be. I am excited about some possibilities, but then I think about, whoa, how's it going to shut things down?
Yeah, it will, because we're not used to it, so.
But I'm not going to worry about it till it gets here.
Excuse me. That's right. There ain't no need to worry about it till it gets here and then worry about it.
If it comes a good snow, can you get one of those cardboard boxes and make a sled out of it and slide down your hill there?
No, I ain't going to slide down hill. I'll end up in the creek. I ain't going. You forget it. I can remember, you're talking about Washburn Store. Years ago, it snowed, and little man was just a little fella then, and he didn't have no sled, and Donald went over to Washburn Store and got him a sled. It was still out here. I don't know, several years ago, I think it out there behind the building. I don't know if it's still there or not.
Well, there you go. You're all set.
Yeah, but I thought about that when you said something about Washburn Store, and you wanted to know, you asked Bob if they had a board meeting, reckon y'all could change that. Yeah, y'all could. There'll be a lot of hot air at that board meeting. that's what popped in my mind.
That's pretty good. I was going to say, the way some board meetings go, they'll still be meeting by the time it comes and melts. They'll be still talking about it.
But we hope everybody's having a good day. Today is a tremendous Thursday, and it's 24 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any announcements or anything going on that I know of, but I've got one birthday, and that's Martha Thomason, and I hope she has a great old big day. I've known her ever since grammar school. She's one of my friends. I treasure her friendship very dearly. We don't see each other much, and we talk about about 2 or 3 times a year she'll call, and we'll talk and talk and talk. But I hope she has a good day, and I don't know of anything else going on, so I guess you better go to Ellenborough and see how Luther's doing.
Well, you stay warm up there, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, catch you later.
All right, bye. And indeed we will. Check in with Ellenborough, see what's popping over there with Luther Gilligan on the phone. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. And we are checking in now with Ellenborough and get a report from Luther Gilligan and see if he's got things together this morning. Luther, how you doing?
Hey, I'm staying cool this morning.
Good.
We have 31 degrees down here. But it's a good morning, though. We're going to have a good time today. It's quiet right now, though, but the fire department had a good bit of action last night. From 8 to 4 last night, they had 3 medical calls. Had 1 accident and 1 car fire. They got busy there last night. But they're quiet this morning. He said he was just enjoying a cup of coffee. Yeah. Not a whole lot else going on there. Everybody just trying to get to work, get the day done. But we want to wish Miss Roxanne Hawkins happy birthday today, so we hope she has a great day. And nothing else going on down here. You have a great day up there. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Keep your eye on the target, and I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, take care now.
Bye. And that leaves us time for the birthdays for this 13th day of January, January 13th. It's a Thursday the 13th and not a Friday the 13th, so that's good. And if you're having a birthday, call us now. Todd's standing by to take that call. It's 287-3356. If you're outside the area code, it's 828-287-3356. Call your birthday and anniversary, and we'll announce it and let folks know that you graduated into another year. Call now. You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled A-R-Y-E-E. Granny B serving breakfast from 7 until 11 Tuesday through Saturday mornings. If you like a good hot breakfast this morning, good morning for it with this cool weather out there. Good hot cup of coffee. They have specialty coffee there as well. And have your breakfast cooked the way you like it. Sit down and enjoy a good hot breakfast. It'll make you feel better the rest of the day. Or if you want to top it off with a daylight donut, I'd recommend that as well. They got plenty of choices there at Granny B's. Good place to have breakfast, lunch, or dinner every day, Tuesday through Saturday. Check it out. If you've never been, give yourself a favor and eat with Granny B's today, right there in Spindale, right beside the Shake Shop.
Happy birthday.
Well, happy birthday wishes going out to Becky Gillum this morning. Becky turns 82, so happy birthday, Becky. Hope you're feeling well and having a great day so far. Other folks celebrating today is Martha Thomason of Rutherfordton. Mark Quinn is 42. Sandy Mush, he works at Facebook. Danny Kaiser, 59. He owns Danny's Auto Works. Is that your brother? Todd's brother, Danny. Happy birthday, Danny. James Morgan over Holly Springs having a birthday. Birthdays today include the 1919 birthday of Robert Stack. He's an actor, died in 2003. 1931, Rip Taylor. He was a comedian. He was born. He died in 2019. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was an actress on Seinfeld, yeah. And she was born in 1961. 1977, Orlando Bloom. He had a birthday. Some of the events on this day, 1863. How many of you remember that? Chanel yarn making machine was patented. 1930, Mickey Mouse comic first appeared. 1942, Henry Ford patented a method of constructing plastic auto bodies. 1942, first use of aircraft ejection seat. 1962, Chubby Checkers, The Twist, hits number 1. Come on, baby, let's do the twist. Also on this day is Korean American Day, National Peach Melba Day, National Rubber Ducky Day, and Stephen Foster Memorial Day, and National Sticker Day. And now you're up to date on this date in history. Right here at WCAB. Keys to Confident Living, coming up next.
How many of you remember waking from your nightly sleep to the smell of freshly baked biscuits in your mother's kitchen? Or walking into Grandma's house and sensing the unmistakable aroma of her baking skills at work? Did you ever stop to think about some of the ingredients that went into those tasty morsels? If you did, you probably wondered how things could end up with such a wonderful taste. I don't know of anyone who clamors to sit down and eat a jar of flour, or begs for the shortening can and a spoon, or bursts through the front door after school and pleads for a can of baking powder. No, when you stop to consider the various ingredients that go into making biscuits, Few, if any of them, taste very good. It is only when they are put together in the proper proportions that they make an incredibly delicious delight. Life is something like that. Many things that happen to us are not very appetizing by themselves. We would rather do without them. However, the all-wise God knows how to take a little bit of this and a little bit of that and mix it in with just the right proportions so that it turns into something wonderful. The Bible says that God is able to make everything turn out for good to those who love Him. The individual components experienced by themselves may not be very tasty, but when all are put together, they create a taste and an aroma that are pleasing not only to us, but to God and others. This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living.
We were talking about Washburn Store a moment ago. They do have some U.S.-made sleds all ready to ride. So if you get over there today and get your sled before this stuff comes in this weekend, you'll be sitting wondering, how far can I slide? Get those sleds from Washburn General Store this morning.
It's another long winter.
600 years.
No, it'll be gone soon.
I'm waiting!
From ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Military deployments headed to COVID hotspots across the country. The White House coming to the aid of some overcrowded hospitals and exhausted healthcare workers. Here's ABC's Karen Travers.
Last month, the president directed the defense secretary to ready 1,000 military medical personnel to be sent to assist across the country where needed. Starting next week, military medical teams, doctors, nurses, and other clinical personnel will start arriving in Cleveland, Brooklyn, Providence, Detroit, Albuquerque, and Newark, New Jersey. The Biden administration says it has already sent more than 3,000 federal personnel to hospitals around the country since last July. Karen Travers, ABC News, Washington.
Americans facing the sharpest rise in inflation in 4 decades. Here's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze.
Consumer prices rose at their fastest pace since 1982, a 7% spike from the same time a year ago, due to a combination of supply chain issues and booming consumer demand for products. Across the country, gas prices are up nearly 50% in the last year. Food like meat, poultry, fish, and eggs up 12.5%.
And now more than 8,000 Kroger and King Super grocery store workers, most of them in Colorado, walking the picket lines.
The Colorado strike is just the latest example of the new dynamic for workers across America. Successful strikes at John Deere, at Kellogg's, and other major companies in recent months have shown that workers know that they have leverage for the first time in a long time in this tight labor market, and they are willing to use it.
ABC's Terry Moran. The top Republican in the House, Kevin McCarthy, is refusing to answer questions and turn over documents related to the January 6th Capitol riot. Those investigating the insurgency say he had direct contact with then President Trump as it was happening. McCarthy says the investigation's not legitimate. Today, President Biden travels to the Capitol to talk with congressional Democrats about voting rights legislation. You're listening to ABC News.
With the stock market at all-time highs, cash in your profits now and invest in an asset that can potentially pay for up to 20 or more years. That's the sound of a producing oil well and the sound of a smart investment. If you're an SEC-defined accredited investor, you can take advantage of Encore Energy's projects. Call now to learn how you can potentially achieve 20 or more years of income and deduct 100% of every dollar invested against all forms of income. Call 1-800-278-7455. Invest in your future and buy oil. Encore is drilling in an area that is potentially one of the most prolific horizontal oil plays in the entire country. Oil prices are projected to rise, so you need to own a piece of an oil field. Encore Energy is the most active oil and gas operator in its core area of operations. Call now and learn how to deduct 100% of your investment and create 20 or more years of potential monthly income. Call 1-800-278-7455. You'll be calling directly to the home office of Encore Energy. That's 1-800-278-7455. Oil investments involve a high degree of risk and actual results may vary.
Tennis star Novak Djokovic still doesn't know if he'll be able to play in the Australian Open, but if he does, he's the number 1 seed. The draw for the tournament out this morning. Australia's immigration minister is still deciding whether Djokovic can stay in the country. He would need an exemption to Australia's COVID vaccination rules since he has not gotten the shot. The spread of the coronavirus forcing another school district to go back to virtual learning, this time in Oklahoma City. ABC's Jim Ryan says state officials are trying to get the schools back open again.
Concern about spreading coronavirus among students in classrooms is part of the logic behind returning to virtual learning. But Oklahoma City school administrators say it's illness among teachers that's created a staffing issue. State Education Secretary Ryan Walters is pleading with local leaders to keep campuses open.
Can we find subs in the business community? Can we reach out to the local churches just to expand our substitute list?
Walters' suggestion is been pounded on social media by opponents who say virtual school with a certified teacher is better than in-person classes with a volunteer substitute. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And a rare sight in Japan. Twin baby pandas born there are going on display at a Tokyo zoo. The young pandas, a boy and a girl, were born back in June. They're now the size of toddlers. Their introduction to the public, just a brief one, only 3 days because of a spike in COVID cases. This is ABC News.
Now an important message from Exergen. A critical new FDA study proves that the widely used non-contact thermometers are not accurate and have high probabilities for false negative readings. New COVID strands are on the rise, and non-contact manufacturers are being irresponsible at a time when accuracy matters most. Accurate temperature measurements are essential. Don't wait. Switch to Exergen because they are accurate and backed by over 100 clinical studies. Be sure, be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at Exergen.com.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
We continue to track a storm system this afternoon. It's moving through the northwest, expected to arrive here on Sunday with a wintry mix that could be potent. Now for today, mostly cloudy to overcast, the high temperature in the low 50s. Tonight is partly to mostly cloudy with the low in the mid 30s. Tomorrow we expect it to be a milder day, partly cloudy skies, mid to upper 50s. Saturday looks overcast, and again Sunday looks like a wintry mix is in store. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
And we're at 31 degrees under cloudy skies, 31 degrees, and cold out there this morning. But we will be warming up a little bit today in anticipation of the wet weather that's coming this weekend. We'll see what's going to happen. We got our eyes and ears open to the Weather Center, and we'll keep you posted. You be sure to lock it in, 100.9 FM, 590 AM, WCAB in Rutherford. Well, did you know that if you are a smoker, despite the state's well-planted roots in the tobacco industry, the cost for smokers in North Carolina is near the lowest in the nation? Wallet Hub, a personal finance data aggregator that usually tells us the 10 best places to raise children of the 25 most reasonable housing markets or the rank of U.S. states for happiness, is out with new figures that are focused on a serious effort to change public health. Wallet Hub said in a release it wants to encourage 34.2 million tobacco users in the U.S. to kick this dangerous habit, and that includes distributing pointed financial impacts that it says place the economic and societal cost of smoking at $300 billion per year nationally. North Carolina is almost at the bottom for financial impact to the tune of $36,842 per year per smoker. That's fourth when ranked by the aggregated categories of cost per smoker, out-of-pocket cost, financial opportunity cost, health care cost per smoker, lost income, and other expenses. Only Georgia, $36,504, Mississippi, $36,614, and Missouri, $36,820 ranked better on the average. Here's how North Carolina came out overall based on first being the lowest. Out-of-pocket cost per smoker, $100,214. That's ranked fourth. Financial opportunity cost per smoker, $1,048,404. That's ranked fourth. Healthcare cost per smoker, $136,613. That's ranked number 11th. Income loss per smoker, $471,761. Other costs per smoker, $11,427. And total cost over lifetime per smoker, $1,768,420. Total cost per year per smoker, $36,842. So there you go. If you're smoking, you're spending a lot of money, not only out of pocket, but health-wise as well. So just a little bit of information I just picked up this morning. We've got news from here and there coming up in just a moment.
There are so many insurance agencies here and there, but to find a dependable agency that you can trust, that would be Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance Agency. They are your full-service agency offering auto, business, homeowners, health, and life. Maxwell B. Hamrick is an independent insurance agent. Call them today at 286-2384. They care about their customers, and it shows. They're located at 119 Huntley Street in Spindale. Maxwell B. Hamrick Insurance Agency, serving one satisfied customer at a time.
Well, the Sheriff Chris Francis will be talking more about this on his report. It will air here in, again, just a few moments. So here's a little more information. The Rutherford County Detention Center has been home to 5 overdoses this week, including one fatality early Wednesday morning. At 4:56 a.m. Wednesday, a nurse and a jailer found Andrew Franklin Hodge unresponsive in his cell and where he was housed alone. Paramedics and the Rutherfordton Fire Department arrived on the scene and pronounced Hodge dead. Hodge's death appears to be the result of an overdose, according to Sheriff Francis. Hodge, 33 of Union Mills, was being held without bail on charges. He fatally shot Thomas C. Labelle, 33, at his Candy Turf residence in July. Hodge fled the scene and was later arrested in Florida. Francis has requested the State Bureau of Investigation to probe the death. The investigation remains ongoing. The investigation will likely include 4 overdoses at the jail on Tuesday when 4 inmates had to be taken to Rutherford Regional Hospital because of overdose symptoms. All 4 were treated with Narcan by first responders. They were responsive before being taken to the hospital, according to the Sheriff's Office. They were responsive. The inmates were cleared from the hospital and returned to jail where they were placed in observation cells. The Criminal Apprehension Team narcotic unit, and deputies searched several cells to try and locate what the inmates may have ingested. The investigation as to where the drugs came from and how they entered the Rutherford County Detention Facility and led to the overdose is ongoing. Sheriff Francis said he believes Hodges' death and the other 4 overdoses are related. He declined to say what drug might have been used. He said, "We're trying to get to the bottom of it all." And you'll hear more from the sheriff on his report later on this hour. Rutherford County Schools will continue with this mask mandate in the classroom setting. You heard Philip Morrow talk about this the other morning when we had him on the radio. The Rutherford County Board of Education members made the decision at the end of the open session of Tuesday's school board meeting. Only board member Brandy Nettie voted against the measure. As required by state law, public school boards must vote at each monthly meeting on the issue of mask wearing as a strategy to limit the spread of COVID-19. At the beginning of the school year, the board agreed to a policy that requires masks if the county is considered a high COVID transmission zone on the Federal Centers for Disease Control and Prevention COVID-19 Community Transmission Map. Per the policy, face masks are optional for students, school employees, and visitors when Rutherford County is classified as substantial, moderate, or low on the map. The board voted to maintain the policy, which means the mask requirement remains in place while the county is classified as a high transmission zone. Officials noted that in the big picture, the school system is a far better place regarding COVID than a year ago, and even when compared to the beginning of the school year in August of 2021. For comparison, the total number of Rutherford County school students excluded in quarantine from school because of COVID on September 2nd was 1,042. The number of students excluded on October the 1st was 522. On November the 1st, there were 158. In December the 1st, there were 96. There has been a noteworthy uptick in student exposures to COVID and exclusion since the Christmas break. On January the 7th, there were 196 students excluded from school because of COVID. Superintendent David Sutton said that uptake has continued over the past 48 hours. While the increase is dramatic, according to Sutton, there is no cause for panic. Guidance from the CDC, which informs the Strong School NC Public Health Toolkit, has evolved over the past several months as more is known about COVID-19. Required quarantine times have been significantly reduced. Previously, the required time periods were 10 to 14 days, depending on the specific situation. The required time now is generally 5 days. They brought it down to 5 days now instead of the 2 weeks. Another business at the meeting, new administrative appointments were announced for the school system. Deborah MacArthur, who currently serves as lead teacher at Rutherfordton Elementary School, has been named as an assistant principal at RS Middle School. Jennifer Walker, who currently serves as social studies media at Chase High School, has been named as an assistant principal at RS Central High School. Sherry Suttle, who currently serves as the cafeteria manager at Ellenboro Elementary School, has been named as the school system school nutrition contract manager. In his superintendent's report, Sutton also expressed his excitement for the new year, which will bring the completion of the new RS Middle School in Rutherfordton. In addition, he noted that a new maintenance and transportation facility to be located at the current RS Middle School site is moving forward. So they're making some inroads. Well, you heard me talk about this yesterday. We broke this story early on, and now the Courier has something on it as well. Candidates filing for North Carolina's 2022 primary elections will resume in February. The Superior Court of Wake County issued an order Tuesday evening and scheduled the resumption of candidate filing. The period begins Thursday, February 24th. That's coming up here week after next at 8 a.m. and will end Friday, March 4th at noon, according to a release by the State Board of Elections. The three-panel judge upheld state legislative congressional district maps being challenged in redistricting-related lawsuits. A separate court order on Tuesday ordered the suspension of the consideration of any challenges to candidates for U.S. House, NC House, and NC Senate until final resolution of the litigation in the redistricting cases. North Carolina League of Conservation Voters versus Hall. Such a challenge was filed against Representative Madison Cawthorn on Monday. In that suit, voters contend that Cawthorn violated the 14th Amendment because of his participation in insurrection or rebellion, as they put it, and is therefore disqualified from seeking office. They'll have a hard time proving that. That's just an accusation they're trying to put out there to taint the image of Representative Cawthorn, and there'll be more of that coming. Rutherford County Elections Director Dawn Lovelace says she is pleased that the filing period has finally been scheduled. The original filing period began Monday, December 6th at noon, but was suspended by court order at the end of the day, Wednesday, December the 8th. Lovelace said Wednesday this was a very unusual situation. It put a strain on the candidates. There was uncertainty for them and the Board of Election staff. There are about 6 weeks before the filing period resumes. Potential candidates should have plenty of time to make their decisions. Races for the Rutherford County Board of Commissioners, Rutherford County Board of Education, Rutherford County Sheriff, Rutherford County Clerk of Court, and District Attorney will all be held in November. The primary election is set for May 17. Keep that in mind. May 17th is the primary election set as of right now. Candidates who had already filed for local races are incumbent County Commissioners Brian King, Alan Toney, and Mike Benfield, and challenger Jason Dwayne Toney. Sheriff Chris Francis, Clerk of Superior Court Steve Owens, and challengers Patsy Kirkland and Darren Joyner, who filed for Board of Education, District 1. 2 candidates have opted to bypass the primary process but are hoping to be on the general election ballot in November. Philip Allison and Tony Robertson officially started the process through the Board of Elections office and are seeking the required signature of Rutherford County registered voters to petition the board to have their names on the ballot in November. Allison is seeking a seat on the Board of Education representing District 1, while Robertson is hoping to become sheriff. Both will be running as unaffiliated candidates, amassing the required number of signatures from registered voters. Going to get ugly, I'm afraid. I hope it wouldn't. Everybody should run on what they think they can do and stop the innuendos and the Facebook lies and those kind of things, and run on what you think you can do better than the other candidate. Run on your platform, and these accusations and innuendos and fake news stories are out there need to stop. Meanwhile, the story I alluded to earlier during the call-around report, this North Carolina veterans home helped the family celebrate a big occasion on Wednesday. It was a lady who gathered around to sing happy birthday and clap for a World War II veteran who turned 103 on Wednesday, January the 12th, in Black Mountain. Bernice Leverett, now 103, served as medical transportation in the U.S. Army and married Buford Leverett in 1947 after he was discharged from the Navy. They moved to North Carolina, had 2 children, and now have 4 grandchildren and 9 great-grandchildren. The North Carolina Veterans Home helped the family celebrate this big occasion. Leverett said, "I'm just kind of in a daze. It's wonderful. It's just something that happened that's never been before, and it really is overwhelming." Her daughter, Alicia Bowman, said she's amazing because she knows so much and she still has her mind about her. We can communicate, and she just does very well for 103. Bowman told News 13 that family and cooking are important to Bernice. So congratulations to Bernice Leverett, now 103 and still in her good mind. So I think that's wonderful. Banking on being 103, coming here behind this microphone in the Blue Room and welcoming you to the morning wake-up call as 103. Well, here's a story. Let's see, this was somewhere in North Carolina, or South Carolina, I believe it was. Beaufort County officer rejected Lauren Cutshaw. She was arrested for speeding and driving intoxicated, and they stopped her to arrest her, and she said, "I'm just too pretty for jail. I can't go to jail. I'm just too pretty." So they took her on anyway. Cutshaw's justification for her dangerous behavior didn't end there. Leaked video footage of the conversation confirms all allegations toward her. Cutshaw can be heard pleading with Odom not to take her to jail because she's graduated from a really good university, received a 3.8 grade point average in high school, and is physically attractive. So she kept pleading, "I'm too pretty to go to jail." Having bought into the propaganda of systematic racism in law enforcement, Cutshaw was shocked when the officer dismissed her ridiculous assertions. As a last effort, she finally told him, My partner is a cop, identifying him as married businessman Nicky Maxey. After rumors began swirling, Maxey later cleared up that he is Cutshaw's business partner and not her romantic interest. I'm an old geezer who is very happily married with a wife and 3 kids, he said. He then joked that the idea of having a young girlfriend should be included in the story because it might be good PR for him. Although Cutshaw's argument fell flat with the police officer who admitted he was a bit taken aback by her narcissism, she wasn't done trying to avoid her just consequences. Cutshaw was determined to garner the judge's sympathy. After hearing Cutshaw's inane justification, the judge delivered a ruling that came as an outrage to the public. Now, this might give you an indication of what's wrong with the court system. Despite excusing her behavior with her race and continuing to drive with a suspended license, Cutshaw received no jail time and was given her license back. The sentence was delivered after Cutshaw pleaded guilty to misdemeanor DUI, allowing her to pay $187, take alcohol safety classes, and perform just 24 hours of community service. Before the ruling, investigative reporters caught Cutshaw on video driving her Ford Fusion while her license was suspended, pending her hearing. Still, the evidence never seemed to make its way to the judge's decision, leaving Cutshaw to likely believe her previous assertions about the justice system. Cutshaw endangered lives and showed no remorse for her actions, even illegally driving around the same vehicle after her arrest. She has evaded justice without learning her lesson and subsequently will almost surely re-offend. Sadly, despite the officer's attempt to prove to Cutshaw that Lady Justice is blind, the court system delivered her the opposite message and let her slap her on the wrist and told her not to do it anymore because she said she's just too pretty to go to jail. Sheriff's report coming up here right after this.
There are plenty of drugstores in Rutherford County, but not all of them offer the same personal customer service that is offered at the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton. Laura Hodge and her team have trusted, experience, and professional service. You're not just a number to them, you're a friend. Make the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton your hometown drugstore at 200 Charlotte Road in Rutherfordton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 1, 287-7117.
Now Sheriff Chris Francis on the radio.
Jim, in the last 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office responded to 125 calls of service. There have been 8 arrests processed in the county jail, currently incarcerated 154. Among those arrested, Christopher Michael Bowen, 21-year-old male of Far City, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear and received a $4,000 secure bond. Matthew Thomas Cooley, 34-year-old male, was served with a true bill of indictment while he was already incarcerated and received no bond. Ricky Lee White, 29-year-old male of Spartanburg, was served with 2 counts of felony failure to appear and received a $90,000 secure bond. Among our incidents, we had a larceny US 221A in Forest City. There was a blue BMX hyperbike valued at $40 and a DeWalt Sawzall valued at $100 that was taken. A suspect was seen and dropped that property, and but unfortunately escaped in the woods. We recovered the property and returned it to the rightful owner, and we do have a suspect in mind in that repeat offender. We had an ID theft there off Bethany Church Road. Victim's ID was used to turn on power in another state several years ago, and it still was affecting their credit and needed a report for that. We had a B&E in Lordstown, Highway 226, where the homeowner had left the house for a few hours and returned, and it was $50 in change that was taken in a smartphone. The house had been left unsecure with a door unlocked. And we had a missing person from Brook Drive, Brandy Nicole Roop, a 33-year-old white female, 5'2", 110 pounds, with brown, medium-length, straight hair and brown eyes, was last seen on Saturday, the 8th, by family members, and they have reported her missing, so we will be looking for her. And, of course, Jim, we had a tragic event in the jail yesterday morning and the night prior. We had a total of 5 inmates that we believe overdosed. Looks like some sort of an opioid or fentanyl or heroin-type substance, the way that the 4 that we were able to save responded responding to the Narcan. But unfortunately, Andrew Franklin Hodge was located deceased. Appears to be related to the other four, though, and we have contacted the SBI to come in and assist in that investigation, as well as our investigators are working the criminal aspect of it as well.
Halftime to blow it open, beating Wake Forest 76-64 last night, turning in its best stretch of play since returning from a stoppage that included 2 postponed games. Acting head coach John Shire.
Well, it's obviously there was an exciting win for our team. It's been a heck of a 24 hours, of course, with the news, with coach not feeling well, and we were hoping he was going to be able to make it to tonight's game, but it turned out it was best for him to be at home.
With 12 three-pointers, North Carolina State beating Louisville last night. The final score in that one, 79-63. Coach Kevin Keats is a former Louisville assistant, and the Wolfpack won just their 3rd game in Louisville in the last 10 attempts.
Good win for us, good road win. Proud of my guys. We completely fought. I thought our young guys were tremendous, and actually those guys were the guys who closed the game.
The Hornets had dropped 16 straight to the 76ers before winning last night in Philadelphia, 109-98. Here's Dave Ferry.
Gordon Hayward hit his first 9 shots and poured in 30 points. Hayward provided 22 points by halftime, nailing 4 3-pointers while shooting 9 for 9, helping the Hornets end the NBA's longest active losing streak against another team. The 76ers' 7-game winning streak ended despite Joel Embiid, who scored 31 points for the 5th straight game.
Elsewhere last night in action in the NBA, Washington over Orlando, 112-106. The Celtics beat Indiana, 119-100. NHL last night, Bruins winners over the Canadiens, 5-1. Dallas turned back Seattle, 5-2. And the Coyotes winners over the Maple Leafs, 2-1. You're listening to NCN Sports.
Parents, Medicaid offers free or low-cost health insurance for children and teens. Doctors and hospital visits, prescriptions, shots, and more are covered, giving you peace of mind if your child gets sick or injured. Apply now so your child is covered in the new year. Visit ncchca.org to learn more. That's ncchca.org. This message brought to you by the North Carolina Community Health Center Association and paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Vaccines are so rigorously studied and have proven to be both very safe and very effective.
Because there's a lot that goes into proving that a vaccine is both safe and effective. That same rigor that we demand as scientists and as physicians has been applied to this.
These are just as safe as all the other childhood immunizations that we have been giving our kids for years.
You can immediately go get it, and you do not have to wait any longer.
Kids have a spot to take their shot.
Everyone 5 and older can get a COVID-19 vaccine. Visit myspot.nc.gov.
Carolina Panthers have fired 3 coaches: special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn, offensive line coach Pat Meyer, and defensive line coach Frank Oakham. In New York, the Giants have fired their head coach Joe Judge, while the Jets, coming off an 11th straight season without a playoff appearance, announced they're raising ticket prices, an average of 3%.
Baseball fans would love to hear that sound this spring, and there is some hope, as Major League Baseball and the Players Association are scheduled to meet Thursday. Several people familiar with the talks have said that Major League Baseball has been preparing a new proposal for the union. The dispute threatens spring training that's scheduled to start the middle of February. I'm Shelley Adler.
Keith Hernandez will have his number 17 jersey retired by the Mets this summer to honor his 7 seasons as a player and nearly 3 decades in the booth with the franchise. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
We continue to track a storm system this afternoon. It's moving through the northwest, expected to arrive here on Sunday with a wintry mix that could be potent. Now for today, mostly cloudy to overcast, the high temperature in the low 50s. Tonight is partly to mostly cloudy with the low in the mid-30s. Tomorrow we expect it to be a milder day, partly cloudy skies, mid to upper 50s. Saturday looks overcast, and again Sunday looks like a wintry mix is in store. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
We have reached thawing. It's 32 degrees now. We started out at 30. It's bumped up a little bit, and it'll continue to climb till we get about 53 for a daytime high today, and nice, beautiful weather. Now, we're, of course, watching the weekend weather pattern, see what happens on Saturday night and Sunday. Right now, it keeps changing every hour or so, so right now we just don't know. But we'll keep watching that pattern for it, and I know you're concerned about that as well. weekend coming up, and a lot of things that you normally do on weekends may get hindered because of the conditions on the road. But don't panic just yet, and don't buy all the milk and bread just yet, because who knows, it may change overnight. You know what they say, hang around a little while, the weather's going to change. It may do that before the weekend, but then again, we may get some. It's an iffy kind of thing right now. Let's look at some other stories that you might be interested in, and at least I think you are. Those of you who have indicated you like to keep abreast of what's happening, and you don't like to turn to fake news, you like to get it for real. Well, one of those things that is for real is inflation is soaring to its highest level since 1982. The Consumer Price Index increased 0.5% in December, bringing the key inflation indicators year-over-year increase to 7%, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The Consumer Price Index soared to 7% on a year-over-year basis in December, the highest level in almost 4 decades. Economists surveyed by the Wall Street Journal projected the index would soar past 7.1% in December. There's still a lot of scarcity in the economy. Consumers and businesses are in great financial shape, and they're willing to pay up for more goods, more services, and more labor. According to Sarah House, director and senior economist at Wells Fargo, the Core Price Index, which measures inflation of goods, less food, and energy, increased 0.6% in December, an increase from November's 0.5% figure. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported food prices grew 6.3% on a year-over-year basis, and energy prices soared to 29.3% over last year. According to Diane Swunk, chief economist at Grant Thornton, told CNBC, it's still hot, and it's important because we're now where the Fed worries that about that 7% number getting baked into wages and getting more entrenched. You've got the Fed in panic instead of patient mode, so the risk is overshooting. We're now in a position of the Fed chasing instead of anticipating, and it's worrisome, she said. Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell said Tuesday during his confirmation hearing that the U.S. economy is strong enough to begin a tighter monetary policy, including increasing interest rates and ending its monthly asset purchases. Meanwhile, the U.S. recorded an increase of just 199,000 jobs in December, far below experts' prediction of around 422,000. Unemployment dipped to 3.9% in December from November's 4.1%. That's the Daily Caller is reporting all that. We still have many jobs here in Rutherford County that are not going filled because folks yet have not decided they need money to live that they have to work for. They can live on money given to them, but getting up off of their duffs and going to work and earning it, they have not decided, many folks have not decided they want to do that yet. It bothers me, breaks my heart that we're building a lazy society when everybody's content with just give it to me and not let me go earn it. Our society needs to be built on let's go earn it. Let's go make it better. Let's build it bigger and let's work hard to make it happen. Let me earn it. Don't give it to me. Let me earn it. But that's not what's happening. Folks are still sitting around with restaurants not able to run full hours because they can't find help. And many of them. And other companies closing earlier or changing their hours because they don't have help to run things. I don't know what's going to happen to get them back off their duffs to get out there, but it needs to happen to get our economy moving again. We can't have another generation of sitting around, give it to me, go get it for me. I'm going to sit here and let you bring it to me. We need a society growing up, but let me get up in here and help you do it. Let me get up here and help you build it. Let me get up here and help you make that sale. Let me get up here and make some money. I want to make it. I want to feel good about myself because I earned that. Get my paycheck and I've earned that. Not, well, I'm going to run to the mailbox and see if I got another check coming in. We got to get over that phase. Well, meanwhile, critical race theory program teaches disabled preschoolers that whiteness affects everything. We talk a lot about that. They tell me in our system here that critical race theory is not being taught. I'm taking them at their word. A program designed by the University of North Carolina teaches 3- and 4-year-old disabled preschoolers to deconstruct whiteness. according to a report from Education First Alliance. The education groups called on the North Carolina General Assembly to stop funding a statewide program that teaches critical race theory-aligned ideas to special education students, according to a press release from Education First Alliance. All this is from the Daily Caller News Foundation. Now, the North Carolina State Board approved the extension of a contract with UNC Chapel Hill's Frank Porter Graham Child Development Center, which has worked with the Office of Early Learning of the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction since 2013. The program, called Equity and Cultural Responsiveness, defines whiteness as how customs, culture, and beliefs operate as the standard by which all other groups are compared. It encourages deconstructing whiteness by challenging it and developing a personal vision for racial justice and building skills to be accountable allies to people of color. Critical race theory holds that America is fundamentally racist, yet it teaches people to view every social interaction and person in terms of race. Its adherents pursue anti-racism through the end of merit and objective truth and the adoption of race-based policy. With this vote, North Carolina schools became the most radically divisive education system in America, according to Education First Alliance President Sloan Rackmuth. Yes, we are seeing critical race theory in schools elsewhere, but it's mainly taught in the higher grades, he said, but preying on disabled 3-year-old children, getting them to participate in a political movement, and to hate themselves based on skin color in the process shows our public schools to be more morally corrupt than all others. All this is coming out of the program designed by the University of North Carolina. The $7 million extension continues the program through 2025 and is funded through an Individuals with Disabilities Education Act preschool handicapped grant awarded to the state by the Office of Special Education Programs at the U.S. Department of Education. The program explains to teachers that we, quote, we are all products of a racialized society and that whiteness affects everything inside and outside the classroom, end quote. When we use clarifying conversations, we reconstruct whiteness. According to the program's training documents, people experience compounded disadvantages or advantages as a result of intersectionality. Founding critical race theorist Kimberly Crenshaw coined the term intersectionality, which the training by the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction defines as a framework that examines the interconnected nature of social categories such as race, class, and gender, and how they create overlapping and interdependent systems of discrimination or disadvantage. The book is Anti-Racist by Tiffany Jewell, discusses the theory of that and claims that those with privilege have power over others. They're instilling this in the kids, disadvantaged kids, many sections. And State Board member Amy White voiced her concerns about the program to North Carolina's Republican Superintendent of Public Instruction, Catherine Truitt, because she received emails that said the curriculum teaches critical race theory and anti-racism, according to the Education First Alliance's statement. Teachers are told to focus on social emotional teaching and learning, which had been criticized as a tenet of critical race theory instead of control, which is based in a white normal and is associated with white supremacists. It's all complicated. It all gets really bogged down, and that's why folks don't want to deal with it, because they phrase these things in such legalese terms that the average folks don't want to take time to study it. But Education First Alliance and the education group No Left Turn in Education and North Carolina Citizens for Constitutional Rights criticize the state for hiding the program's material. I know that all that stuff is a snoozer for many, but it's time we snapped up and paid attention to what these programs are all about. In September 2021, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper vetoed a bill that passed the state legislature banning critical race theory in North Carolina schools. Legislators tried to ban critical race theory in the public schools, and our illustrious governor vetoed that bill. He's in favor of all that propaganda stuff being taught about white supremacists. The University's Child Development Center released a statement in June 2020 to recognize centuries-long systematic oppression and terror against black people and people of color, indeed since the founding of this country. So there you go, folks. There you go. All right, it's out there. But there are other good recognitions that have happened. Many of you know the name Natalie Grant. You know Natalie Grant. You know that name. Many of you do. Some of you may not know her, but she's a gospel singer. And she sang that song at the college football championship the other night. I didn't watch that, but I don't know if they showed that even on TV sometimes. They're doing away now with the national anthem, those kind of things. But Natalie Grant's rendition of the national anthem during Monday's college football championship game led to widespread acclamation, as well as trending searches on Google and Twitter from viewers who wanted to know more about who Natalie Grant is. The 9-time Grammy-nominated Christian singer developed a powerful rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner before the national championship game in Indianapolis between Georgia and Alabama that immediately drew applause from sports and non-sports fans alike. It's good that they had somebody like that to do the national anthem instead of somebody to sing the national anthem and then grab their crotch or sing it like like they're drunk on something. But she's a great singer, and she's a Christian singer, and they brought her in to do the national anthem, and she's winning rave reviews about how she handled that and her ability to do that so well. It's 8:41. I'll be back in just a moment.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continue to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
It's that time again, time to get the flu vaccines. And Smith Drugs in Forest City has the flu vaccinations available. Walk-ins Monday through Friday and Saturdays by appointment. And Smith Drug is asking all their Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers to call if you need any help with registering your recalled devices. Just call the Home Medical Department for any help or with questions at 828-245-4591. And Smith Drugs has the Moderna and Pfizer initial shots and the boosters. They also have the flu vaccines at Smith Drugs of Forest City.
For a delicious meal every day, call on Gregory's Original. Choose from their top menu of burgers, subs, grinders, pasta dishes, fresh salads, and so much more. All dishes are prepared fresh daily. Hours are Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. until 9 p.m., Saturday, noon until 9 p.m. Now at Gregory's, try the family-style meals. The dining room is now open, but curbside and takeout is still available. Enjoy lunch or dinner today with your favorite meal from Gregory's. Call 287-2171, located in the Park Lane Plaza in Rutherford's Gregory's Original.
It's 8:43 and My Great America with Jimmy Butch, 9:05 this morning. Another interesting program that you should wait around and tune in for. You know, there's not many things that get me really burnt out on my crawl, but I'm generally a nice, gentle, smooth-going kind of guy. Like to present you with the facts and the truth. Some things just really get under my crawl, and one of them is, there's a couple of them, one of them is the fact that fellow they call up in New York City that's not going to press charges against folks who break the law. Just let them get away with it, don't even press charges. You've heard about that, right? Many crimes, don't even bring them, don't even arrest them, let them go. They can jump over the turnstiles there in the subways. They don't have to pay. They jump over, let them go. Public prostitution in the streets of New York, let them go. Don't even try to arrest them. All these things that he don't want to arrest them. It's like giving them carte blanche to go out and rob somebody. It's not going to bother anybody. We're not going to arrest you for that. Now, how stupid is that, folks? And yet he's in charge up there of the law enforcement. And that kind of thing. Really gets me riled up. I'm glad I don't have just a few more minutes, maybe turning this blue room bluer, but here's another thing that gets me going. The Biden administration sent pandemic stimulus checks to violent criminals in prison, including terrorists who bombed the Boston Marathon. They were in prison for violent crimes, and they got stimulus checks from the government. Yeah, the Biden administration sent COVID-19 stimulus checks to convicted murderers and sex offenders in prison as part of the pandemic relief package passed by the Senate Democrats last March. Now federal prosecutors are suing the prisoners who received the stimulus payments, ordering the inmates to use the funds to pay restitution to their victims' families, according to the court documents received by Fox News. You think they will? One prisoner in particular caught the attention of Senate Republicans last week after it reported that convicted Boston Marathon bomber, I can't pronounce his name, but Sohar Tarsanovi or something like that. I'll just call him John Paul. But he was the Boston Marathon bomber. He received a $1,400 stimulus check under President Biden's $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan. As of December 22nd, he had $3,885 in his account, according to the Associated Press. Last week, a U.S. District Court judge agreed to let federal prosecutors use his $1,400 COVID-19 stimulus payment as well as other money held in his inmate trust account to help pay some of the money he was ordered to pay his victims. He was convicted in 2015 of 30 charges in connection with the 2013 bombing at the Boston Marathon that killed 3 spectators and injured more than 260 others. In 2016, he was ordered to pay $3,000 special assessment and more than $101 million in criminal restitution. So far, he has paid a little more than $2,200 of that, all toward the assessment, according to court documents. Now, although he has not paid a penny in restitution, John Paul has used his inmate account to pay his siblings for items such as gifts, support, and books, according to the prosecutor's filing. And the government, the taxpayers, are supporting this man, giving him stimulus money, COVID money, and he's buying gifts and books to his buddies there in prison. In addition to the stimulus payment, he's been being held at a maximum security prison in Florence, Colorado. He's received money from dozens of sources during his incarceration, including the Federal Public Defender's Office and regular payments from individuals living in Indiana, New Jersey, and Maryland, according to the filing by acting U.S. Attorney for Massachusetts, Nathaniel Mendel. Now, why would anybody want to do that to somebody as evil as these people are? Prosecutors wrote, the United States admits that the requested relief is reasonable and appropriate in this instance, especially in light of the defendant prioritizing payments to his siblings over the victims of his crimes. Well, taxpayer money shouldn't be paid to him so he can pay off these people, right? He was originally sentenced to death, but the federal appeals court in Boston threw out the death sentence in July 2020 because it said the judge at his trial did not do enough to ensure the jury would not be biased against him. He is currently serving a life sentence. Well, the Biden administration, in their wisdom, has asked the Supreme Court to reinstate his death sentence. The High Court heard arguments in October but has yet to rule. Arkansas Republican Senator Tom Cotton, who warned back in March that convicts in prison would benefit from President Biden's COVID-19 relief bill. Folks didn't believe it. They said, oh, surely not. But the bill included $1,400 stimulus checks for all Americans making less than $75,000 a year, even the inmates. And the Boston bomber murdered 3 people and terrorized the city. He'll be getting a $1,400 stimulus check as part of a Democrats' COVID relief bill. Fox News reports at the time Senator Cotton, Senator Bill Cassidy, and Senator Ted Cruz admitted to add an amendment to the bill that would have blocked checks for prisoners, but it failed on party line vote, with 50 Democrats voting against the amendment to block money going to these inmates. That's what's going on in Washington. I know it. I'm scratching my head too, wondering what's going on all about all that. So I don't know. Anyway, one more story, and I'm gonna have to get out of here and make room for My Great America. There is some good things in America in spite of all these negative things I'm presenting to you this morning. But you need to know about that. You don't need rose-colored glasses in life. You need to see the facts and reality. So if nothing else, you can get on your knees tonight and pray about what's going on. Prayer does change things. And if we don't know the truth behind these things, we say, oh, I'm just so glad things are going so well. When they're doing these kind of silly things up there that's causing our economy to flop. One other story. Joe Biden's shot mandates have claimed the life of yet another armed forces member. This is from Breaking Christian News information. Josiah was that's not his real name, they've changed his name. He was a perfectly healthy 48-year-old at the top of his form in his career. Despite resistance within his own ranks, Josiah followed orders and got Biden's COVID jab. 10 days later, Josiah dropped dead of a heart attack, a deadly side effect of the shot so common that the U.S. military admitted it was a problem 7 months ago. Nevertheless, Joe Biden continues with his unlawful shot mandates, and so the Army is following his request, his mandate. It revealed on June 29, 2021, the Defense Health Agency published a report in highly respected Journal of American Medical Association titled Myocarditis Following Immunization with MRNA COVID-19 Vaccines in Members of U.S. Military. It revealed that the shots tend to cause myocarditis, a severe and life-threatening inflammation of the heart, within just 4 days of receiving their first dose of either the Pfizer, BioNTech, or the Moderna jabs. Within 10 days of taking the shot, otherwise healthy male service members were having heart attacks. Biden's CDC COVID-19 task force member Dr. Matthew Oster was forced to admit that it does appear that the MRNA vaccines may be a new trigger for myocarditis. Members of Josiah's squadron, many of whom had already submitted their religious exemption requests, are now digging in their heels, doubling down on resisting the jab that took their commander's life. But despite the military's own scientific data and now the actual evidence of lives lost, plus the laws that clearly require the government to honor religious exemptions, Joe Biden still won't give up on his demand to put a jab into the arm of every military, federal employee, and civilian contractor. Biden's COVID mandate is unlawful. Biden cannot rob Americans of their religious freedom even during a pandemic, but he insists on doing it. Liberty Counsel's massive class action lawsuit, Navy SEAL 1 versus Biden, is fighting to restore religious freedom for all members of the military, federal employees, and civilian contractors. Just weeks ago, the DOD, Department of Defense, told our judge that no action would be taken against military members while our case progressed. Because of the DOD's promise, the judge in our case declined to issue a temporary injunction at that time, but it turns out the DOD lied. Can you imagine somebody up in Washington lying? Despite the promise to our judge, the Navy announced last week that it has already removed the first group of sailors from the service for not getting the COVID-19 shots. On December 15th, Navy commanders were ordered to begin the separation process, kicking them out of service because they refused the jab. And on Friday, January the 7th, Biden's DOD was forced to admit to the judge in our case that the military continues to deny the 21,342 religious exemptions requested by service members. The filings by the military branches prove that the Biden administration continues to ignore the law by denying religious exemptions from the COVID shots. Now, service members continue to be threatened with discharge, loss of pay, loss of benefits, and repayment of education and training costs. The Biden administration is even trying to force shot-refusing personnel to pay their own way home from overseas deployment. That sounds kind of like what the Chicago Mafia used to do. Your business will be okay if you'll pay us so much. If you don't pay us, then don't expect to find your business intact tomorrow. That kind of smacks of that kind of operation. This week, these people are filing another request for an injunction to stop Biden's DOD from enforcing the unlawful mandates. And we look forward to returning to court to stop the Biden administration's continued unlawful treatment of our military heroes once and for all. This is a Liberty Counsel trying to do this. It says, and we aim to free every American from Joe's unlawful jabs. Liberty Counsel is not only fighting for the bodily autonomy and religious freedom of every member of our armed forces, we're fighting for our very lives and yours. If you want to know more about that, you can go to Liberty Counsel website and learn more about them and what they're doing, or go to breakingchristiannews.net, I guess it is, or maybe .com. Find out more about what they're doing and learn about why that is so important that we stay in touch with the facts and with the truth to make sure that we understand what it is they're telling us, what's fake and what's not fake, where they're overstepping their bounds and where they're not. It's important to know those facts, and don't just buy everything some pretty attractive superstar on television tells you. Don't buy everything you hear on Facebook or to read on Facebook. Search out the truth. The truth shall set you free. I'll be back in just a little while for My Great America with Jim and Butch.
It's cold.
How cold?
Well, just go outside.
That's when you know it's for real.
We're helping you survive.
Get the first weather forecast at 6:05 here on 100.9 FM 590 AM WCAB Rutherfordton.
And Navage. And should I try it? Here's the science. Airborne germs invade through your nose. It's the body's air filter for trapping allergens and viruses. When your nose gets clogged, it's less effective and germs multiply. Eventually, your immune system can get overwhelmed and you get sick. Nasal irrigation is an effective, all-natural way to clean your nose. It's not a drug, it's more like plumbing. Saline goes in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and germs. I'm Martin Hoke, and I invented Navage to make cleaning your nose easy. It's the world's only nose cleaner with powered suction. Navage pulls out the bad stuff so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and feel healthier. At Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, Bed Bath, and Walmart. Or go to Navage.com for a free gift with purchase. Over 2 million sold. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
A new report is shedding new light on some of the last days of the life of Gabby Petito before she was killed last year during a cross-country trip.
The stuff you did today.
It was this interaction between Gabby Petito, Brian Laundrie, and police at the center of the report. It was last August when police in Moab, Utah stopped the couple because of reports they were fighting in their van. The independent report, written by a captain at an outside police department, finds officers made unintentional mistakes and that Gabby Petito was the aggressor in the incident. Brian Laundrie was a victim. The report finding there was probable cause to make an arrest. No arrest was made not long after Petito went missing. Alex Stone, ABC News.
New warnings about cyber attacks with their roots in Iran. ABC's Inez de la Cuetara.
U.S. Cyber Command is warning that malware created and used by Iranian intelligence actors is being used around the world. Known as Muddy Water, the malware is mostly targeting Middle Eastern nations as well as European and North American nations. U.S. Cyber Command saying, quote, Muddy Water is a subordinate element within the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security, end quote. This comes as the White House plans to host Apple, Google, Amazon, and others this morning to discuss software security. Inez de la Cuetara, ABC News, at the Foreign Desk.
Signing on with the Army could be worth a lot of money. The Army looking to lure high-skilled workers, now offering enlistment bonuses of up to $50,000. This is ABC News.
70% of the Fortune 100 choose Zoom. With phone, chat, workspaces, apps, events, and video in a single platform, Zoom powers all your communications. Large enterprises, small businesses, and individuals use the secure Zoom platform to enable new ways of working, learning, hosting events, and supporting their customers. And now you can save 15% on meetings, chat, and phone with the Zoom United bundle. Visit zoom.com/bundle. Zoom, how the world connects.
I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
We continue to track a storm system this afternoon. It's moving through the northwest, expected to arrive here on Sunday with a wintry mix that could be potent. Now for today, mostly cloudy to overcast, the high temperature in the low 50s. Tonight is partly to mostly cloudy with the low in the mid-30s. Tomorrow we expect it to be a milder day, partly cloudy skies, mid to upper 50s. Saturday looks overcast, and again Sunday looks like a wintry mix is in store. I'm Mike Mays in the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
And we're past the freezer locker stage now. We're 35 degrees with the warming temperatures coming our way and dropping back again tonight to around 32 degrees, right about the freezer locker stage. And then we'll be warm about 53 today, 52 tomorrow. And tomorrow night dropping down to 29. Then the weekend is what we're looking out for. We'll keep you posted on all of that. It's 9:05 here at WCAB.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
Well, good morning, Butch. Hope you're doing well today.
Good morning, Jim. I've got a little bit of that thing that sounds like I've got something stuck in my craw. By the way, I heard you mentioning that phrase earlier. And as I am wont to do, as they say, I found myself asking the question, where did that phrase come from? Stuck in my craw. Do you know?
I don't know where it came from.
Okay, well, I'm glad you asked, because here's what I found out. Stuck in my craw. Hunters centuries ago noticed, Jim, that some birds swallowed bits of stone that were too large to pass through the craw and the digestive tract. These stones, unlike the sand and pebbles needed by birds to help grind the food in the pouch, literally stuck in the craw and couldn't go down any further. So when you were talking about a couple of stories that were really getting under, like a burr under your saddle, the same kind of phrase. So the way that we might say it that's outside of the hunting experience would be this. It means to disturb the peace of mind of someone, especially by repeated disagreeable stories or acts. And you know what came to me? This is not being loose. In the midst of all the things that we can read in the headlines that are very disquieting and very disturbing, there's lots in the marketplace to pull us loose from the moorings of the peace that we have, like a ship that's there in the quiet harbor with a hurricane that rips it out of the quiet harbor and sends it out across the ocean, Jim. That's what happens to you sometimes in the morning. A good reminder for all of us is Isaiah 26:3. You will keep in perfect and constant peace the one whose mind is steadfast, that is committed and focused on you in both inclination and character, because he trusts and takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation. I know that's your heart. I know you well enough because you're a dear, dear friend. And I know that's your heart. So in the midst of all those headlines that are coming in, you remember, I would never do it anymore, but do you remember it like the state fair, ever going to the bumper cars?
Oh, yes.
Why in the world anybody invented that is beyond me. But it's a metaphor for what the news and social media and Facebook and Twitter and all of that is like. It's like people get up in the morning, have their cup of coffee, skip over getting into God's Word, and strap themselves into the bumper cars that are flipping around and zipping around and wondering why they feel beat up by the end of the day. It's a choice.
Flip from channel to channel to channel.
Right, exactly. And you know, we make choices. My dear friend Sandra Norris, whom you know.
Yes,
yeah,
I love Sandra.
She just has people all through the county that have been touched by her inimitable teaching and her enthusiasm. You know, she had a brother named Butch who passed away. And she adopted me as her brother, and she's my older sister. And like she'll often say to me, Butch, it's a choice. It's a choice. We make a choice about our attitudes and our feelings and our dispositions. And those of us that follow Jesus make that choice not out of our own self-effort, but make the choice knowing that this is a way station. Hebrews 11:13 says, these all died in the faith, not having received the promise, but confessing from afar they were strangers and aliens on the earth, longing for a heavenly country. Those of us that have the living God in us, we're born again, increasingly look around the world and see this is not our home. And there are even songs to that effect.
It's not our home. We're just passing through.
Right.
My treasures are in the lake, somewhere beyond the blue.
Right. And so we need to set our treasures there. So I want, with my blue sweater on and your blue sweater on this morning, I just want to encourage my friend. You have to... You have to kind of be a roto-rooter man. You have to strap on your suit and just dive into the sewage of a lot of what's going on out there. But you know what? We have the incandescent light and hope that comes from Jesus, and I know that's in your heart.
I just want people to know the truth and not work on innuendos and false accusations and fake news. I want them to know the truth because it's important that we react based on the truth. We used to teach Dale Carnegie trained years ago, get the facts, accept the facts, and build on those facts and not something that's not true.
Well, and I completely agree with that, and that is one of the reasons why with the upcoming elections in Rutherford County, you're going to hear me be a strong, persistent advocate for us to have a candidate forum. I really believe that we need that. We need people to hear the candidates speak, not hear what somebody thought they heard the candidates speak, or retell some innuendo about this, that, or the other. You know, these are weighty days for the county. They're weighty days for the county. And you know what? When you have headlines that talk about inmates that are dying in jail, and we know that the drug issues are significant all across the United States. As a matter of fact, I was doing a little research here recently, Jim, and this comes close to home for reasons that I'll explain. Drug overdoses are on track to kill a record number of North Carolina residents this year. It's a serious problem. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention predicts the state will see a 43% jump in overdose deaths in 2021 compared to 2020. 43%. The state medical examiner's office, this is all data. This is not an editorial. This is data from the state health department. The state medical examiner's report indicated 2,939 suspected overdose deaths in North Carolina from January to September of 2021 compared to 2,347 during the same period in 2020, a 25% increase. In 2020, more than 93,000 people died of a drug overdose across the United States, reflecting a rise of nearly 30%. And the North Carolina trajectory is not good. It's just not. And according to PAL in this report, the state has seen a steady increase in drug overdose deaths over the past 15 years. More than 70% of overdose deaths in the state involve opiates, including heroin and fentanyl. That's what the official reports, the data says, for the state of North Carolina. So I'm really concerned.
I am too. And one of the sad things about that, it's not just those bad guys and gals out there that are injecting stuff in the system. Average citizens who are on drugs every day because the doctor prescribed it for them.
Right, and this is something, I'm going to tell you a quick story. This is something that you need to know. We have stereotypes of IV drug users. And the stereotypes that many people often have are some homeless junkie underneath a bridge that's never worked a day in their life, and they're irresponsible, and they're a drug addict. What the data shows is one of the fastest growing cohorts, we call them groups or cohorts, of IV drug users in America. You know who they are? Middle-aged, white, suburban women. You know why? They had some kind of incident in their life physically, went to the doctor prescribed opiates, prescribed Oxycontin, prescribed some kind of a pain reliever, and then because of the increasing concerns in recent years, at some point, cut them off. They had become drug dependent, and what they realized is that their only way, unless they were going to try to illegally get prescriptions, which unfortunately has happened to millions of people, they went to street drugs. And because the marketplace of producers, including Mexico and other countries, knew this, they hyped up production, amped up production. And with leaky borders, we've got drugs that are coming across that are stronger and often laced with adulterants. And fentanyl, which is a hyper booster for addicts, has resulted in a growing number of people that are dying and becoming addicted. Yeah. So, Jim, it's not just the stereotype of those bums out there are taking IV drugs. It's homemakers, it's people at Baptist churches and charismatic churches and others, and it's a serious problem.
And it draws them. They can't just put it out like take a couple of aspirins and put it up on the shelf again. You got to have it next time. You got to have it next time. Then you got to have something stronger the next time. God rest his soul, Rush Limbaugh when he had serious back problems for years, had to have back surgery. They put him on Oxycontin for pain relief.
They found thousands and thousands of Oxycontin pills in his home. Remember, he got in trouble.
Absolutely, he got in trouble. He pain was so, and he got in trouble over that. Had to go to detox for a period of time, but he learned his lesson from that. But that's what happens. We get addicted to the pain reliever that we're trying to overcome the pain. Before we know it, we have to have something stronger. So we got a drug problem more so than just, as you said, the guy under the bridge.
Well, and we need to bring compassion, but we need to bring the hope and healing that I believe only happens when a heart is transformed. You look at Mark chapter 5, the Gerasene demoniac. It talks about him being tormented and living in the tombs, but he had enough of his will in that story in the Gospels in Mark chapter 5 to step towards Jesus. And the story of the Gerasene demoniac is a picture of an addicted person, tormented by the addictions, and yet in that case there was enough. It said there was a legion of demons that he was tormented by. There was enough of his will to step forward towards Jesus, and out of that came a remarkable recovery. I'm going to tell you a quick story. It's a story about a young girl that grew up in a very high net worth home. She was in church. She had a lot of opportunities. She was a champion quarter horse rider in her teenage years. She was somebody that did well in school. She was well liked. She did some modeling when she was younger. She was beautiful, had siblings, was part of what would seem like an idyllic home. And then in the space of about 15 months, she had three things that happened. She was sadly sexually assaulted. Her first love of her life, that she thought was a love of her life, who introduced her to drugs, jumped off a building when he went back to college and killed himself, and then her parents got divorced. And that started a journey for this young girl. She was about 16 at the time when all of this conspired to happen. That was 11 years ago, and today she's somewhere out in the streets in Minneapolis dealing with the impact of long-term drug abuse. And I know a lot about this young girl because it's our youngest daughter, Micaiah. And so, Jim, the face of the opiate crisis for me is one of 4 children that I love dearly. And I love her enough to know that I can't be a savior to her. And some of the hardest things that I've ever had to do are to say no to somebody that I know is in the throes of addiction. And so this is not something I just read from the newspaper. This is not something I just talk about because it's something we talk about on My Great America. I've got a daughter that has been in the throes of addiction and has been in the middle of unspeakable circumstances. Before I moved here to Rutherford County in 2016, Jim, I chased her all over the country. God didn't direct me to do that. It was my own perversion for her as a daughter and trying to be a savior when I wasn't called to do that. And Jim, it almost killed me. It was tens of thousands of dollars. I chased her all over the country. I would get a phone call and she'd say, "Dad, I'm in Phoenix. I'm in trouble." And I'd say, "Where are you?" And she'd say, "I don't really know." And I'd get on an airplane, go to Phoenix. I'd be out on the street giving money to drug dealers and other unspeakable people to try to find where she was. So this is a very personal thing for me. It's not just something I've read about. It's something that her mother, my ex-wife, and I and her siblings have had to walk through. And it's serious. So when I read stories like this, that's somebody's child that overdosed. And we need to ask questions like, how are drugs getting into jail? I mean, that's not a political statement. But we got to get a hold of this because I'm telling you, it is not getting better from what I'm seeing in the state or in the county.
That's absolutely right. And your testimony you've given on several times, and one of the good things I appreciate about your church, your church has helped many people who have been wrought with drugs and alcoholism, help them clean their lives up and walk a better path. And I've heard testimony after testimony of some of the folks in your church, and those testimonies are encouraging to know that indeed there is a way out.
Right.
But sometimes we have to guide that person to that way.
We do, and you know, I'm a living, breathing example of somebody that God's at work in my life. I mean, the reclamation and the restoration and the deconstruction so there can be sound construction in my life. I'm still very much in the middle of that, and it tells us, I think, in Philippians 1:6, that God will finish the work that He started. Now, we need to be born again and not be in the midst of a lot of false religion. But I just want to say I'm grieved for where we are as a state, and I'm grieved for where we are as a county, because I personally know the wrecking ball of what addiction can do to a family or the life of a child. And you know, all of the things that one would suggest would prevent somebody from becoming an addict. My daughter learned to shoot up for the first time at a church youth group. At the largest church in Colorado, New Life Church, the pastor of which, Ted Haggard, fell into disgrace and it became national news. Now, there's no blame or shame for others in this, but I am telling you, it's people. It's not just data, it's people. So we got to get a hold of that. And a way that we get a hold of it, one way we get a hold of it in this great country that we're in, is you've got to become actively involved to try to make the county better. Whatever candidate you get behind, you know, I've been having lunches with some of the various candidates, incumbents, and others. Why? Because as I told one of them here recently, I don't want to have impressions of you that are driven by anything other than what I have learned from you directly. Yes. Which is why we need a candidate forum. And you know what, Jim, I was showing you this earlier. You want to talk about miracles? You want to talk about miracles? By the way, real quickly, the Republican Party's next meeting is on the 27th of this month. I just talked to Bryson Smith, who's the young, tenacious party chair. He's doing a great job. It's a big tent. It's on the 27th at 6 p.m. Now, if you're a Republican, you're an independent, or if you're a Democrat like I was, searching for the light of truth and understanding, you are welcome. And Bryson made it a point to tell me, Jim, we'll feed you.
They do that, that's right.
We'll feed you. So you'll be there.
I will be there, yes.
Jim will be there. And you know what? Whenever you see Jim at an event like that, you're always going to find people around him because you know what? This is not faint praise. He's been around the block. This is not your first rodeo. You've seen a lot of things. But one thing you may not have seen, and I just thought it was great, is I'm part of trying to help the communications efforts for the local Republican Party, serving Bryson and Jamie and some of the others that are there. And so Jamie Reedy gave me a little badge for me to wear, Jim. That is, folks, if you can see this is a miracle right here. It says Rutherford County, North Carolina, Republican Party. It's got the seal, Communications. And, Jim, my Democrat friends all over the country, if they saw this right now, they would just have something stuck in their craw. Isn't that great?
That's fantastic.
It makes me so happy.
And I'm happy you're proud to wear it.
Well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to wear it. You know, folks, we need to remember, too, that these are days where, we've been talking about the importance of us in my church. We've been talking about the importance of us taking personal responsibility for our health. I'm trying to lose a little weight, boost my immune system some, and I want to go ahead and I'm not paid to say this, and neither are you. I find this to be really good. This is Darby Farms elderberry syrup immune support, an age-old wellness tradition. You know, elderberries are really, really good for us.
Yes.
It's got elderberries, honey, ginger, cinnamon, and cloves. A small batch produced by Darby Farms in Union Mills, North Carolina. And Union Mills is what direction again?
It's going toward Marion.
Going towards Marion. Established in 2007. Shake well, refrigerate after opening. And I am finding this is really helpful. You can get this at small town coffee roasters.
Yeah.
Monty's got it there, and there are other places.
Medicine Box in Rutherford also.
Medicine Box in Rutherfordton, good advertiser here at the station. So consider getting this and taking hold of your personal health. You know, God made all of creation, including a lot of plants and other things that are helpful. And we need to get a hold of that.
Some of the things we haven't really grasped, many folks have not really grasped, is the natural things that are out there, the fruits and the vegetables that are healthy for us. But we oftentimes want to go to the things that's homemade in some lab somewhere and take that. But I have that elderberry syrup in my refrigerator right now.
Isn't that good? So I want to encourage you folks, and I want to encourage you to come to the Republican Party meeting on the 27th at 6 p.m. Bryson Smith, the chairman, and all of us will be there, God willing. Now, you know what? In our time that's left, I want to give a clarion call again, Jim, for people to get back into God's Word. You know what? There are people I know that read their Bible off their phone. I don't do that so much. I still love having the crackle of a newspaper. I know I'm dating myself. Okay, I thought I'd never do this, but I am, and I am on Medicare now, so I guess I can say these things. But I love the feel of a paper, reading a paper, and there is something reinforcing about just having the substance of a Bible.
Yes,
that's in hand. And as we close out the program today, it was on my heart again to just tell people, wherever you're running for hope, running to your friends, running to your family, running to self-help books, running to whatever else you're running to, the place you need to run to is Jesus. And the way that you do that, make a step, is get into His Word. And you know what? The reason our country is great, Jim, we've said it so many times before on our program here, is we had leaders that understood the power and the authority they didn't have, but only came from God. And so let this be a reminder as I read what some of the former presidents said about God's Word. I love this. John Quincy Adams, he was the 6th president. The first and almost the only book deserving of universal attention is the Bible. I speak as a man of the world, and I say to you, search the Scriptures. Listen to this. In regard for this great book, I have this to say: it is the best gift God has given to man. All the good Savior gave to the world was communicated through this book, Abraham Lincoln. Or, how about this? That book, sir, is the rock on which our republic rests. Andrew Jackson, our 7th president. How about this? The Bible is the one supreme source of revelation of the meaning of life, the nature of God, and spiritual nature and needs of men. It is the only guide of life which really leads the spirit in the way of peace and salvation. America was born a Christian nation. America was born to exemplify that devotion to the elements of righteousness which are derived from the revelations of Holy Scripture. Woodrow Wilson, our 28th president. The strength of our country is the strength of religious convictions. The foundation of our society and our government rests so much on the teachings of the Bible that it would be difficult to support them if faith in these teachings would cease to be practically universal in our country. Calvin Coolidge, our 30th president. We cannot read the history of our rise and development as a nation without reckoning with the place the Bible has occupied in shaping all of the advances of our republic, where we have been the truest and most consistent in obeying its precepts. We have attained the greatest measure of our country's contentment and prosperity. Franklin Roosevelt, 32nd President of the United States. How about this? The fundamental basis of this nation's laws was given to Moses on the Mount. The fundamental basis of our Bill of Rights comes from the teachings we get from Exodus and St. Matthew, from Isaiah and St. Paul. If we don't have a proper fundamental moral background, we will finally end up with a totalitarian government which does not believe in rights for anybody except the state. Harry Truman. A couple more. Hold fast to the Bible as the sheet anchor of your liberties. Write its precepts in your heart and practice them in your lives. To the influence of this book are we indebted for all the progress made in true civilization, and to this we must look as our guide in the future. Righteousness exalteth the nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Ulysses S. Grant, 18th president, and then finally Ronald Reagan, 40th president. Inside the Bible's pages lie all the answers to all the problems man has ever known. It is my firm belief that the enduring values presented in its pages have a great meaning for each of us and for our nation. The Bible alone can touch our hearts, order our minds, and refresh our souls. Every single person who has fallen under the dark sway and been sucked into the vortex of woke theology, if you will, needs to remember again, these are the ancient landmarks, and Scripture tells us, do not move them. And Jim, as long as you and I have breath on this little program, we're going to keep lighting that fire, because it's a commitment to God's Word that fundamentally makes America great.
Amen. God bless America.
God bless America.
Thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.